Obsession with appearance, my God. You don't have to turn on the television. Obsession with appearance and cosmetic appearance. And then the fitness mania, which is nothing more than another form of sadism, hard-bodied, as Wilhelm Reich would have easily shown us. And do you notice the mechanicalistic, monotonous repetition of the way that they even present exercise? It's not done in a very yin or organic way. Even the exercise machines that they show you are demonic. And the message that they're sending you about what you think health is meant to be. Routine, mechanical, movements of the body, totally anti-organic and anti-feminine. And there's so many of those. Why? Because they're selling you a message. And the depression and the ADD and the delinquency and the addiction. And look what's buried in the middle of all of that. The chronic dependency. The key. You can't be anything unless somebody else has given you approval. And mostly you don't get the approval, so as the psychologists well know, look what then happens to us when we don't get it. Look what then becomes of us and what we start doing when we don't have that approval from somebody. Look what we turn ourselves into. Now, anxiety is an interesting word. It's used a lot. It's different than fear. Anxiety comes from the German word Angst. But the psychologists in Germany were saying, look, fear is the word that means when you're being attacked from outside. It's the emotion that you feel when there's a legitimate physical attack. Angst is very different. Angst is from within, when there's something about yourself that's in disorder or malaise. That needs to be borne in mind. What we're having today when we're talking about anxiety disorders is all rooted in what I've been talking about. And then we have the cures, because of course we're not doing the healthy work to solve the problem. No. As I said, we poison ourselves with toxic foodstuffs full of contaminants and then seek respite for our terrible inner discomfort on a physical level from a leviathan that administers nothing more than further poisons to us in the name of our health. Isn't that a symptom of our psychosis? But we want that because what's it all really based on? The doctor's another daddy. Are you feeling better now, darling? Oh, yes, doctor. You're feeling like hell, but don't irritate the doctor. Roll up the sleeve. They could tell you to do somersaults and bend over backwards and people will do it. Because that animus figure is very important. But a priest, pope, politician, doctor, tutor, you see, the whole 9 yards. The expert. Look, we're in submission to the expert. Everyone else is more powerful and more knowledgeable. And we've given our power away to the worst kind of sadists. As we said, we not only go to the medications for the alleviation of the problem, but we often do try Eastern mysticism and various other things, and it's good to study and, try them. But we must never forget that the true yoga is something very different. It is, as Pluto will be describing and showing to people, the cleansing of the psyche. It's psychic immunity. It's psychic cleansing and hygiene. It's sanity. So now we come up to this question, that now we've established that there's something, first of all, we've established there's deep connections between what's happening in the world politically and what's happening in the inner republic. We discover that the Mayans, in their descriptions, were talking about the last 13-year countdown to the 0 year of 2012, and they described it as an age of revealing when the masks would be coming down. The Bible corroborates that, and they have talking about their apocalypse. But the apocalypse comes from the word, from the Greek, to reveal. In fact, what they really meant was, the apocalypse was a physical thing. Apocalypse was a big leather covering that covered something. That's all it meant. A leather covering. A leather covering. What's the metaphor? Yeah. Your body. The leather covering of the skin of the human being. That's what the apocalypse... And that's why they said the Battle of Armageddon will be fought in the air, meaning it's not physical. It's an intellectual battle. Anyone who's done a little study of the metaphorical, symbolic stuff knows this. We've established that there are these great connections between the microcosm and the macrocosm. And now, fortunately, it's not just the mystics, the true yogis. It's not just the Wilhelm Reichs and the occultists who've been talking about this. At last, finally, the scientists are also are catching up. Dr. George W. Cryle of the Cleveland Laboratories announced that he had discovered at the heart of every living organism a tiny nucleus of energy all aglow, with temperatures ranging from 3,000 to 6,000 degrees of heat, which he called radiogens or hot points, precisely akin to the radiant energy of solar matter. Look at that. Precisely akin to the radiant energy of solar matter. he affirmed that a tiny particle of the sun's power and radiance was lodged within the heart of every organic unit. If a mystic had said it, they go, he's crazy, he's on something. But a scientist is now saying it. Deepak Chopra addresses it. Photons, which is the highest form of physical light, come out of nowhere. They cannot be stored, they can barely be pinned down in time. And they have no home in space whatsoever. That is, light occupies no volume and has no mass. The similarity between a thought and a photon is very deep. Both are born in the region beyond space and time where nature controls all processes in that void which is full of creative intelligence. Well, in the early 1980s, thanks to the development of a sophisticated measurement device, a team of scientists demonstrated that the cells of all living beings emit photons of a rate up to approximately 100 units per second per square centimeter of surface area. They also showed that DNA was the source of the photon emission. The Mayan calendar, says Stephen Hanauer, is the only calendar known to be based on galactic cycles. The Mayans claimed that they created this calendar in order to monitor the light coming from the center of the galaxy and how it affected our DNA. We now know, through the work of Fritz Popp, that DNA not only absorbs light, but also emits light. DNA also appears to be the bridge between our physical and etheric bodies. Modern science now realizes that our DNA directly reflects our consciousness, making it possible for us to willfully change our DNA. Now that's magic, and that's true religion. Of course, the slave wants nothing to do with that. He's given away his power to others who do the thinking for him. Consciousness changed my DNA? You mean disease is changeable by consciousness? I don't want to believe that. It's external, it's a bug, it's a virus that's outside of me. I don't want to have anything to do with consciousness. I don't want to think. I don't want to change my consciousness. No. I believe what the FDA and the AMA tell me. But as a matter of fact, the opposite is true. The whole of matter can be transformed and changed by thinking. So when you see these stupid Lego sets that they show you the DNA tree floating in this hyperspace, that's malarkey. That's Hollywood, that's TV. No. The DNA is nothing but an expression of vibration, of energy, affected by thought. It's below thought. Your thinking will transform it. But my goodness, what would this philosophy now would do to the human race? There is a harmonic relationship between the Earth and our mind-body. Earth's low-frequency isoelectric field, the magnetic field of the Earth, and the isostatic field that emerges from our bodies are closely interwoven. Look, the scientists are saying this now. Our internal rhythms interact with external rhythms, affecting our balance, our REM patterns, and our mental focus. For epochs, the Schumann's resonance has provided the orchestrating pulse for life on this planet, our planetary heartbeat, which sets the tempo for health and well-being. ELF waves, frequencies, of Schumann's resonance are intimately linked with those of human brain waves. Natural or artificially induced changes in the Schumann resonance could affect the subtle and perhaps gross brain wave generation. So they're saying that, changes in the Schumann resonance can affect your brain. Liquid crystals, DNA, brain ventricles, and cellular structure, and by the way, DNA, as we're saying, as I just said, is not as they're showing you. Now, these liquid crystals in the human body may operate as antenna for detecting and decoding such global and local ELF signals. But I say something else. Could it be the other way around? Are the mental, emotional, and psychological states of human beings causing the changes to the electromagnetism of the planet? Well, Wilhelm Reich would certainly agree. And we need to get into this, because we got it all back to front. Of course, a physical event takes place, like now they're burning with heat in New York City because the power's off. So they say, my emotional states are caused by this horrific thing that the government is doing. Damn them, I'm out of my mood. How many people think, what was going on in the collective consciousness that caused that outbreak, that set this mood? We don't think like that. It's very foreign to us. Well, of course it's foreign to us. The people who try to teach us, like Wilhelm Reich, we lock those guys up in federal stockades and have them killed. That's why we are unfamiliar with most of this stuff. So changes within the mental reactions